John, what's going on? Are you able to hear me? Not a sponsor, what's up? You guys able to hear me? I gotta turn my fan off. It's warm enough to have a fan, but I don't think it's warm enough to have AC on. It's like 73 degrees, but it's humid as fuck. So obviously be sure to double tap that screen, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the routine. I'm just trying to be as good as other people. I want to see if we can't scrounge up some support for Harley on Sunday. She shoots on Sunday. But yeah, I went into work this morning. I punched in, I put my bag down. The boss walked by, and I looked right at him. I said, "Hey, man, how about a vacation day?" And he's like, "Really? Are you punched in yet?" I said, "Yep, I just punched in." He's like, "You want to just take a half day?" I'm like, "Nope. You can back up my punch and clock me out." So that whole, I don't know, man. It might be time for me to start thinking about something else, because it makes me sick to my stomach just to walk in the place. I think you guys have seen most of what's here. Nothing really new here. You're off till Monday. Perfect. Then you got to go back and you're doing install, right? Service and install. Cooking with Love, what's going on, man? How are you doing? Shared live, right on. Half empty, how are you doing? Yeah, I didn't half empty. I didn't know why you were showing cookies and stuff. To me, it screamed munchies, but you know, cooking. I imagine you got to go to work today, huh? That's good, man. Yeah, I suppose. Working for family is always kind of tough. I suppose if they wait till July, you probably get screwed on another month of probably sales being down. Yeah, you gotta go to work. So I don't know if you heard my story. I went into work, I punched in, I put my bag down. My boss walked by and I hit him up for a vacation day. I tried taking off tomorrow too, and he laughed at me and said no. No. So that's fine. So yeah, I ain't got shit going on. I got a couple hours to burn. Ben, how are you doing? Ben, did you get a discount code with Stifler? Is that what I saw in your post? Appreciate it. I ain't got shit to do until 3:30 this afternoon. I got rehab then, so I'll sit here and burn some time. I haven't posted really anything on the channel for a week. Posted a few videos on this one of match footage. All right, man. We'll see you later. Unless that's just waving. Yeah, it's funny, on my backup channel, I got a video that went over 1 million views, and I posted the same video on this channel, and I got less than 400 views. Reaper, how are you doing? I mean, Ruger makes good guns. I think there may be stuff a little better, but they make good guns. I wouldn't say you would be disappointed. So I think for the money you could probably buy a Colt. I mean, Colt, at least you're buying some collector value. So I think the Ruger, I'll say it like this. The Ruger is worth the money they ask for it. It's a quality firearm, but there's no resale to it. You know, most of us plan on never really selling guns. I mean, obviously, right? I don't sell guns. But you never know. You might decide you want to step up later, and that would be a harder sell to retain money. My dogs are shedding all over. I got fucking cobwebs all over. I got dust all over. Lake flies. I don't know if y'all know what lake flies are, but that's a fantastic critter. Well, I'm not one to care about resale value when it comes to guns. I keep the guns I hate. The Reaper, what's up, my brother? Hope all is well. Yeah, I don't think I've seen the Reaper in a while. Maybe I'm just missing him with times. Yeah, I know I should. Hey man, I'm just trying to be as good as the rest. So, how's your day going, Orange Smoke? It's been over a week since I did a live. I walked in and took vacation first thing this morning. So I came home, I went back to bed for a couple hours, and I figured do a live, try to help this channel a little bit. It's struggling again. So I think I'm gonna start mounting my bipods the other way. I evidently I'm doing it wrong. So I put up a video of the Barrett, and you know how many people told me that optic is just utter trash? And I don't understand that. It's a Leupold Mark IV 50 BMG optic. That's the issued optic that they put on them guns in the military and foreign sales. That's the setup. Kind of trips me out when people are like, nope, that's garbage, absolute dog shit. And I ask them what it is, and nobody seems to know. But Cornelius the Coconut just joined. So no, these are real guns, man. If you want to see any of them in action, watch the channel. They're all in the channel. Yeah. I just stuck them out there. I wanted to make sure I put a couple revolvers up. I always get asked about the Desert Eagle, so we threw that up there. But it's always weird because you put stuff up people ask about, and then in the next live they ask about all the things you didn't put out. So that's what we were up to today. You guys, make sure you double tap that screen for me. Just throw some likes on this. Sometimes when I get lives that do really well, get good likes on it, stuff, that'll help the channel. So I like that too. I bet you I've had a dozen of them over the years. They were all usually the 6-inch model, and that was the last one I bought a few years ago, and it's obviously the 4-inch. That's where it's at. It balances really nice. It's a good shooting gun. It's accurate. The 6-inch is nice to shoot, but it's muzzle heavy. So like when you're offhand shooting it, Leroy, let me fuck with the camera. Makes it a little harder to shoot. Like if you're resting the gun, it definitely shot a little more accurate than the 4-inch. But when I bought that, I originally thought about doing revolver division. So I had a holster made. I've done trigger work on it. And I've just never shot revolver division. So it's a nice gun though. I would definitely tell people to consider it. You know, you're not buying a Smith & Wesson, but the thing with Ruger revolvers over a lot of the other ones is they're solid. They're over machined. There's a lot of extra metal there. You just had an Amish crackhead tweaker walk by. Interesting. That's a whole special type of person, I guess, huh? Yeah. Not long until your trip, huh, Orange Smoke? You must be getting pretty excited about that now. Gage leaves on Sunday for Spain. Zach, how are you doing? Zach, do me a favor, double tap that screen, put a like up on this live. The 28th. So, yeah, that'll be fun for you. Hopefully the weather's good. Yeah, that did well. I posted it, I don't know, maybe 5 months ago or something on this channel, and it got like 500,000 views. And I reposted it on the other channel, and it's over 1 million. I looked a little while ago. It's like 1,039,000 and something. So who knows how long it'll go. YouTube has a way of just shutting stuff off. But I posted it on this channel again too, and on this channel I got 400 views. So how does one channel get over 1 million views and the other channel gets 400? So the truth of it is because I've been showing firearms being shot, they censor that shit. You know, I can do the gun memes or the sound trends, and they generally don't fuck with your channel. But once you start showing match footage and range footage, at least for me, they stand on my channel pretty fucking hard. Yeah, that'll happen for a long time. I mean, my shit still gets it. So that's part of the reason I'm doing the live right now, is just to help the channel. Leroy. Yeah, YouTube, they censor people, man. They're not cool with that at all. So TikTok is worse, obviously. Instagram seems like it's okay, but they don't put your videos out. So if people aren't subscribed to you on Instagram, the stuff isn't seen, which is disheartening. So again, any of y'all watching, double tap that screen, help the channel out. That's the best way you can support a channel, is to watch the shorts or watch the videos, put a comment on them, even if it's emojis. When you watch people's lives, double tap the screen and put a like on it. That helps push your stuff out. Yeah, I caught it. I mean, you sent it to me. I caught it for just a couple minutes, but I'm not going to say anything bad. I think, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So, but if you all want to give me money so I can buy another revolver, I'll gladly take your money. Did you, Orange Smoke, did you get that schedule I sent you with the Steel Challenge matches in Wisconsin? Them are the close ones to me. I mean, if you're real serious about going, I can find something on the other side of the state, and I could just meet you over there. But ours are always on that same weekend. I won't disagree with it, but I don't know. Leroy, you fat bastard. I don't know if I would use it. I mean, I'd probably shoot it, but I had carpal tunnel surgery years ago, and then I as well as I broke my wrist a couple times and my hands, so I'm not one for big recoil and handguns anymore. So I don't mind shooting a 44 Magnum, a full power 44 Magnum, but really much past that, it just, I don't know, it's painful. I won't say it's not fun, because it is, but breaking, my knuckles and my fingers and my wrist, and having that carpal tunnel surgery, it's not super fun to punish myself. So you can try it. I keep thinking about buying a 500, but same thing, I probably wouldn't shoot it, but it would be cool to have in the collection. So Orange Smoke, John Winks is asking, he's looking at a 1911. He was looking at a Ruger SR 1911. My advice was, I told him for the same money or similar money, you go ahead and buy a Colt. What do you think? I told him a Ruger is a good gun, but it doesn't really hold the value that a Colt would. Yeah. I think the Colt Gold Cups, the Series 80 Gold Cups, they're only like $1,300. That's a little bit more than the Ruger, but you're getting a better gun. But everybody has their own opinion. So, but I will say again that you wouldn't be disappointed in a Ruger. You wouldn't be like, why did I buy this? So, just when you buy it though, John, make sure you get, don't buy the GI model, the fixed sights, the standard government style grip safety, the single-sided safety. Try to get like the Gold Cup. The Gold Cup has a single-sided safety too, but it has the upswept grip safety. It has adjustable sights. Yeah, that's my opinion too. Jay Lee, how are you doing? I never know which Jay Lee we're talking to. You guys that are sitting there watching, man, double tap that screen, put a like on this stuff. It doesn't cost you any money. It's always the real one unless the name is different. Isaac, which one is my favorite? Depends what I'm doing with it. So it absolutely depends on what I'm doing with the gun, on which one I prefer to use. Well, you just need to stay focused on the 22s and get a few more. There you go. I think John's like probably the rest of us, where you go out and you play with stuff, then you get bored with it. Casey, I have no idea what any of that stuff is. Obviously, I don't think you're in America, because I don't recognize any of that stuff. 22s are a good time. I don't know what the track is, no clue. ADM, I don't know what that is, man. Yeah, I've never heard of either of them, so news to me. Is ADM, are you talking like Adam's Arms? Is that what that's supposed to be? I just picked up that SIG Sauer M11 A1 229 for 520 bucks. It's used, but never fired. Have you shot it yet? The SIG P322 is the biggest piece of shit so far. I could see that. American Defense Manufacturing. Yeah, I've never heard of the company. Is it a local company? I think I'm gonna pick up the Springfield from a guy at work. He dropped the price to where I can't say no. There you go. I wish 45 wasn't so expensive to shoot anymore. I'm not one for buying factory ammunition, but I don't want to go shoot it and lose my brass. Otherwise, I used to love to shoot it for like IDPA. That was one of the guns I really enjoyed shooting for that stuff, but you lose your brass. Wisconsin, huh? Well, I'm in Wisconsin, Casey, and I can honestly tell you I've never heard of them companies. I agree with that too, John. One of the Scorpions or the Black Mambas, you wouldn't be disappointed. And New Berlin, huh? That's down south by Milwaukee area. Yeah, honestly, I've never heard of it. I will. I'm gonna go back here and screenshot that name and look it up later. Come on, Leroy, back. Don't lay on the camera and shit. You sit over here. Come here. Oh, you big fat bastard. We have a lot of firearm manufacturers in the state of Wisconsin. But like I said, that's one I've never heard of. So. Yeah, John, the Black Mamba is definitely a gun you would probably like. The only thing you wouldn't like about them is the capacity on the Scorpion or the Black Mamba. They're only 10 rounds. Well, they're 9 rounds unless you get the depending on what magazine you buy. They're either 9 or 10. Pasta, I'm not sure what you're asking. Yeah, well, like I said, Casey, I'll look it up, but I've never heard of it. So I'm sitting in the mini excavator today. I look like a Donkey Kong racing in this thing. Got to butter up my hips to get out of the damn thing. Crabby today. Sir Casey, it depends. I guess I would ask you a couple questions before I'd make a recommendation. One, do you have any firearms experience? Do you own any handguns currently? Do you intend to just strictly carry it concealed, or is it something you want to go out and shoot and become proficient with? And then price. Them are the big questions when choosing a handgun. And too, probably, Casey, how do you want to carry it? Do you want to carry it in the waistband? Do you want to carry it appendix? Do you want to carry it in a man purse? Yeah, that would bother me too. Scoot, good morning. How are you doing? I was actually just thinking about you last night. I mean, it might sound a little weird, but no, I was thinking about you last night. It's been a while since we've seen you. So I'm glad you stopped in. John, have you ever looked at like the Glock 44, the 22 long rifle Glock? We have one of them. I'm not going to say it's my favorite 22, but it works. It's worked every single time, and it's kind of fun to shoot, being a little rimfire. Got 2 minutes driving, 2 minutes. Looks like you changed your profile pic again, Scoot. Can't quite tell. Can't quite tell what that is. Yeah, Gage leaves on Sunday to go to Spain. He's going to Spain for 10 days. It feels like a Glock. But they are a decent shooter though. It definitely does feel cheaper than a regular Glock, which is kind of saying a lot, but it is a fun gun to shoot. Now you're parked. I imagine you're still at work or going to work. Oh. Profile pic is of Groot from Guardian Galaxy. Okay. I knew it was something, I just didn't know what it was, but yeah, I can see that. Can't find them in the store anywhere. Smoke. I bought one already. Hey John, do you ever look on Gunbroker? What's up, Scoot? Okay. Are you talking just the buttstock folds or the barrel folds too? One of the folding ARs? I've heard of it, fold AR. Yeah, the barrel fold. You got to get that, and then you get the Deadfoot Arms folding stock assembly. They were actually doing collaborations with back and forth with each other a couple years ago. I have never seen one in person though. Sam Moore, how are you doing, man? How's your day going? So I've bought a few things from Gunbroker. One being my race gun in the top left corner. The second one being my Barrett. So you want to talk about uneasy feelings, go get a couple cashier's checks and send them to another state, and then have them send you a firearm that you've never seen in person. So I had to do a couple cashier's checks because they wouldn't go over $5,000 on a cashier's check. So I did 2 cashier's check and then a money order. Like I've said before, it was just short of 12 grand by the time I got the gun. So I don't know if that should make you feel better or not. I wouldn't buy from a new seller on Gunbroker, but everything I've dealt with them guys has all been solid. And and most of them have a business, and get the number out of their ad and call their business and talk to them before you actually do business with them. But I have dealt with them on a lot of different things, ammunition parts. I bought some t-shirts from a guy, magazines, just about everything you could buy for a firearm I've bought off Gunbroker, and everything was always 100%. So they had the gun in Illinois. It was Central Illinois is where it was at, and I could go look at it, but they wouldn't end the auction early. And then when it came time I won it, I could go look at it. If I filled out the form there, they had an extra wait. It wasn't like Wisconsin, go down there, fill out the paperwork, and leave. So I would have had to go fill out paperwork and then go back a week later and pick it up. So I ended up, okay, hey, just ship the gun up here. Gun was 100%. The only thing I found on it that I didn't like was in the buttstock, there's 2 screws, and they were a little rusty. And I called them, and I mean, that's not something you're going to complain about, a couple $100 gun, but it was expensive enough that, hey, you know, I would have liked to have seen that mentioned. But I called them, and they're like, well, what do you want to take off for the gun? You want $100 off or something? We send you a check back. I said, how about 50? So they sent me a $50 back. But all right, Scoot, we'll catch you later. Yeah, as far as the folding ARs, I've never heard anything bad about them. I've never seen one in person, but so that's about all I can really tell you. But you guys that are sitting here off in the comments just kind of watching or trolling, consider jumping in the conversation here. Throw a like up on the video. All right, Orange Smoke, we'll catch you later. Hope you have a good day, what's left of it. Well, most of it. Try to stay cool, man. It's humid as fuck out here. So, yes, indeed. That's what I know, gentlemen. Deadfoot Arms, they're actually a company located in Wisconsin. I should show that. I actually have one of their prototypes. They modeled their stock, the way their buffer system how it works, off of the Bushmaster Type 97 pistol. And I know that to be actual fact because they looked at my gun. We were at a machine gun shoot with them, and they took the gun, they took it all apart, they took measurements and did all kinds of weird shit. And then about a year and a half later, 2 years later, is when they actually started the company. But I have their working prototype. They gave it to me. I was like, I don't know, that next year and a half or 2 years, whatever it was, I went to that same machine gun shoot, and they gave me that working prototype for letting them copy that gun. So it's definitely not as refined as like their later production models, but it's kind of cool. It works. Being left-handed, it folds on the wrong side for me. The one thing I don't like about it is, you know, on a collapsible stock, you no longer put your stock all the way out because it adds quite a bit of length to the firearm. But again, that's what I know. But yeah, my son, he goes to Spain for 10 days here coming up. I keep giving him shit and asking him if he's going to come home. So we'll see. We'll see if he does or not. I would think he's going to. I can't see him deciding to not come back. Kind of be a little rough for him, you know, living with mom and dad. I don't think you can exactly decide to not come home. Mini 14, how are you doing? How's your day going? It's good to see you're posting content again. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's good to see you're up and posting again. I see you, you were kind of quiet for a while. Tired? Did you work last night or work early this morning? Yep, they are. The one is my Colt that I built. Camera here. Top one's my Colt. I started with a production gun, and I did all the machine work and stuff for that when I was in school. Like, I had a machine out to put the upswept grip safety in. I machined the slide to accept the sights. I did the front cock inserations. I fit the barrel. I did all the trigger work. Blah, 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 blah. And then the gun on the bottom of it is a Viking Combat 2 slide with an Olympic Arms receiver. And I built that gun too. You see, it's the exact same thing as the one above it. You know, I milled out the front dovetail. I did the cock inserations. I milled out the area for the grip safety to be able to put that grip safety on it. I wanted a full size and I wanted a commander. So I took a break, had some family stuff going on. Worked last night until 2. Kids woke you up at 7. That sucks. Gosh, I need a 1911. That was one of the things I did in my shop quite a bit for people. Is I would either do the frame and slide, like buy a Caspian part or buy just an aftermarket frame, and then I would fit the slide, the barrel, do the trigger work, do any of the machine work. Or at the end there, like the last 2 years I was doing it, I had people just buy the Rock Island Armory ones. And they were basically a Series 70. I would throw everything away except slide and frame. And a lot of them I would do an Accu rail to tighten up the fit, and then I would fit the barrel, do the millwork and everything else. It was just cheaper to build it that way for people. That was one of the big things I did though when I still had my business. If you're just looking for something to make noise with, it'll make noise. But you would definitely be better off getting a Springfield over a Rock Island. Like I said, I used them for the frame and the slide because they were cheap. That time we were buying, I think my cost on them was like $2.50. So I couldn't buy a frame for that. So I would buy the frame, the whole gun, throw it all away, fit the barrel, fit the action, do the mill work, and refinish the gun. You can. Especially if you leave the grip safety intact. A full-size 1911 is a little big to carry. For a right-handed person, maybe it's a little easier than a left-handed person. For me, when I get in and out of cars, that 1911 frame would hit the A-pillar in the car. For a right-handed person, you're not going to have that issue. But for me, when I'd sit down to get into a car, it would always catch that A-frame, and I didn't like it. And every once in a while, because these weren't built for carry guns, they were built for competition. I used to use them in IDPA, so there's not a lot of tension on my safeties. If it was something I was going to carry, I'd have to retension them. But there's a few times, I got paranoid. I'd check the safety all the time. There was times where it would get bumped off. But again, the safeties weren't set real heavy. The detent and the safety, so they were easy to take off, and they're fat levers. So I don't think you would have that issue, especially on like a Colt where it's got the single-sided safety and it's not a big monster one. I don't think you'd have any problems carrying that at all. John, have you ever told us what you do for a living? I know you said you worked with your family, but I don't know if you ever told me what you actually do. You don't have to tell me. I'm just curious. That's what I built mine for, was for IDPA and USPSA. I used to shoot them in either it was pretty much always limited 10, or for IDPA it was custom defense pistol. But I mean, the block masonry. I think you have told me that. I'm sorry, man. You're a hardworking guy, Minnie. But that's why like mine, they have the front cock and serrations. It's absolutely the reason I have the Bomar style sight with the high vis front sight. I didn't build them for carrying. I built them for competition use. They both have good barrels in them and stuff. Uh, I think my Colt is a little under 3 pounds for the trigger, and the Commander, the Viking Combat, is right about 3 pounds for a trigger. I could go lighter, but at the time when I put them together, that was light enough. But I used to pick up a lot of work. When I'd go shoot matches, I used to be able to get a lot of work out of stuff. And now all these guns, you can buy the things you want. Um, but you know, in early 2000 when we started shooting, there was no real Glock parts to buy. If you wanted to mod your Glock and get a better trigger, you had to do it. Um, Same with anything else. If you wanted a weld running weld 2 in 1911, you had to either buy, you know, Wilson Combat or an Ed Brown or something, or you had to know how to do it. Smith and Wesson wasn't making them. Ruger wasn't making them. Kimber was in production. Para Ordnance, Caspian Arms, Colt, of course. Um, there's probably a few other ones in there, but I can't think what they were. So for a long time, if you wanted one, you built it. You know, even if you'd spent the money and bought like the Colt Gold Cup, you still had to do work on the gun. So nothing came with front cock and serrations at all. That's, people overlook what them are, but them have only really been coming on guns for probably the last 10 years. You know, maybe a little bit before that, but that's kind of a, you know, it was a high-end thing that people started doing, but 90% of production model guns never had front cock and serrations. Most of them had just a standard dovetail sight. 1911s, the front sights were pinned, so you couldn't just swap out a front sight. You had to do the mill work on it. So it was kind of the same thing with ARs when I first got my business going too, is there was a few. Yeah, I mean, I put them on my guns for a reason. So I don't generally charge my gun with them, but being left-handed, what I do is I will use it to unload so I can catch the round, and then I'll grab the back of the slide, show clear, and drop the slide, drop the hammer and holster. So I did that just to have something to get a hold of when I unloaded the gun at the end of stages. So most people, like the right-handed guys, you'll see them, they'll just work the slide fast and catch the round in the air. Well, that doesn't work if you're left-handed. The round is going to hit the ground. So It's not, I wouldn't say it's bad to do that. Um, as long as you keep your fingers from in front of the barrel. I know ROs used to get upset with me when I did that uh, because I was covering the ejection port. Um, it technically wasn't a, what can I call it? It wasn't something you could get in trouble for, but they definitely didn't like it. Um, and after like stage 2 of the day, when I'm catching the round and then showing them, they would back off, but they would usually bitch at me for it. Ammo, how are you doing? How's your day going? What's big? What's big for you today? You shoot this weekend, Ammo? I think we're gonna go shoot some IDPA. That'll be local. That'll be a half hour away. It's not a lot of driving. If we don't go shoot, then I'll at least go shooting on Saturday with my daughter. Maybe that'd be a better thing. Is she could definitely use some work, some refreshers. So I'm gonna block out the camera here for a second. I want to move a gun there and show you that commander a little bit better there. See how it's got a real different frame to it. You're fixing your AC in your truck, $1,875. AC in your house, $2,500, and your mortgage is $3,300. So what you're trying to say is you're not buying a staccato. Yeah, everything's looking dusty. They're building a hospital just down the road from me. So, I mean, we've been wiping everything down a couple times a week, and I still can't keep up with it. I mean, if I turned the AC on and kept the windows shut, I'd probably be fine. But it's not quite. It's humid enough, but it's not really warm enough. So. You gonna get the 75 or the Shadow? Even the Barrett's got dust on it. We just wiped that all off. Yeah, my dogs are shedding too. I got 3 dogs, so there's always something to clean. They're bulldogs, so half the time I gotta wash the walls because they'll walk through the house and it looks like a porn shoot. I mean, just big old smears of slobber running down walls. So they'll walk through and shake their head, and with them having big old jowls on them, they're not the cleanest dog. $75 BC they have a rental. I'm not sure what the BC is. I mean, obviously B is fire, the block. Is the C the compact, or is it manual safety? I know the BD is firearm block and decocker, but I don't know what the BC is. Yeah, they're like everything. They're different, right? The slides on them are definitely smaller, And if you're used to firearms with larger slides, it takes a little getting used to. But there's plenty of real estate there to do what you got to do. Most of them are pretty good shooting guns. I don't know. So if I only had one for like, just for sports, just enjoying shooting, just going out and shooting shit, or for a concealed carry gun, I don't know if that's the weapon I would purchase. But yeah, well, if you like the trigger on that, don't try the Shadow 2, because they're not even in the same ballpark. I mean, the Shadow 2s, they come factory with a 3-pound single action trigger. The double action on them is a little heavier, but the Shadow 2 is a good gun. Some of the best shooters out there, that's what they're running. If you want a gun and you want it to work, that's the one you pick. But for me, I have the Shadow 2, and I very, very rarely shoot it, and only because I have the Tactical Sport Oranges. So if I didn't have the Tactical Sport Oranges, the Shadow 2 would do everything you would want it to do, and then some. .19X is all right. There's nothing wrong. I like Glocks. I got a bunch of them. I will talk down about Glock because they're not meeting up with what their customers want. At this point in time, they should have a production gun that's got an improved frame, stippled, blah, 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 magwell, and it should have a phenomenal trigger out of the package. It should have probably a factory comp or a brake. That's the only thing I can say bad about Glock. I won't buy any more Glocks until I can buy exactly what I want. I got tired of buying guns and then immediately putting money into them. So I have most of my Glocks out here today. Not all of them. There's others. Like I have another Glock 17. I have another 43X. I have a Glock 22. I think that's all of them then. They are way behind. And I get it, right? The company was being successful with what they were doing. So it was kind of the stay the course. Let's not upset things. Let's not rewrite the book. But at some point, they have to accept that what they're doing isn't what people want anymore. Like when I bought a pistol for my daughter, I bought her that Shadow Systems MR920P. And I bought her that because Glock didn't offer that. It's a Glock 19 size frame. It's got a decent trigger. It's a textured frame. It's textured stippled. It's got a factory magwell on it, factory comp. The sights on there are decent. For a carry gun, it would be fine. It's got the improved slide texturing and cuts, blah, 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 blah. So I spent that on that gun. Glock could do that too. They could have their production model guns, and then they could have something that they could consider more of a competition model, and people would buy it, Yeah, Glock 17's classic. I kind of want to check, what is it, the Glock 47? If they could get off their ass and start giving shit, I would probably buy that. I hear good things about it. I'll be curious to see what they do as they're discontinuing all these models. I don't know. It would be nice, like the Glock 34s and 35s. They used to come. They had a better trigger than the normal production model guns, and they had adjustable sights. And they did that because that was Glock's competition gun. And they'd come with extended grips, extended magazine release too. I don't understand why they can't put better sights and triggers on their guns from the factory. A lot of what they do with their triggers is because of their law enforcement contracts. That's why I keep saying all they would have to do is call it a competition model. You know, not suited for concealed carry, not suited for duty use, but a competition gun, and it would be a home run. I mean, they would knock it right out of the park. Yeah, I asked that too, Ammo, and you sidestepped the question, but hit factor. What are you gonna shoot tonight? You gonna shoot your pistol, or are you gonna take that PCC? Yeah, absolutely, they would. You know, and they could absolutely justify raising the price. They could get, you know, that $1,200 for that gun. And initially they would be, you know, tooling cost, right? But after they had the tooling, it wouldn't really cost them any more to make that gun. You know, small amounts in machining on the slide, but the frame could still be all injected molded. They just have a redesigned frame. You know, they could factory mold a magazine well when they molded the frame. You know, the trigger. You know, call it a competition model that kind of gets away from a lot of the liability for duty use or concealed carry use and stuff. You know, people would still want to do it, but you know, I would love to see that. You know, the old gray clone. You shooting the 124s with tight group? Stifler, what's going on? Stifler, how did Ben get a discount code for you? I was on his post and I saw that. I'm like, what the hell is that? Which is good. If you have any sales or anything coming up, leave them in the comments and I'll pin your comment. Greta, Ben reliable for you? Great clone. Yeah, them slides you got where they were doing the hearts and the I don't know, man. I should just give you my phone number. I'll go to your channel. I'll leave you my phone number and email. When you see it though, I'll leave you my phone number. When you see it, you can just send me a text and I'll send you my email. But when you see my phone number, just erase the comment after you get it. Would you do that for me? I'll do it later today if you're all right with that. But yeah, that one where they do the hearts and the stars, that would be, you could almost do like a Zev clone build that way. I was looking at that pretty hard last night, doing like a hyper comp. But like I said too, Stifler, if you have anything you want to pin, I'll go ahead and pin your stuff for you. Yeah, I don't know if I want to put my main email in that. I have 3 emails. 2 have my full name in it, which isn't a big deal for a lot of you guys. And then the other one is combination email that I use for work and stuff too. So I don't, kind of leery about posting that. That's why generally when people want to get a hold of me, I'll just give you my number. Feel free to text me, but yeah. So I wouldn't care about the style. I would care about the build, the hypercomp clone. So that's like I keep telling you, towards the end of summer, that's going to be the way I'm going to go. I'm going to end up picking one of them up. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll do that because I do have Instagram, so maybe we'll just do that. Hyperbora. But I'm gonna make a new one right now. Put it in my bio right now. There you go. But Stifler, what's big for you today? I mean, obviously you're working. You're always working, making that money. That's a good thing. We have G17 3 slides now. There you go. Here, we'll post that or pin it. Come on. If it lets me. Come on. I need you to say something before or after that so I can pin it. Because when I click on it to pin it, it just takes me right to your website. Yukon Bob, what's going on, man? How are you doing? Nerds with Guns, what's up with you? Yeah, just put an emoji or something on there, and it should let me. Because when I click on it, just wants to take me right to the link. There we go. There we go. There we go. Now it should be pinned. Alex, how are you doing? Hello from France. Yeah, Yukon Bob, there ain't much going on. Just chilling. I went into work this morning, punched in, and then asked the boss for a vacation day. And he let me have a vacation day, so I split up out of there. It's been a minute since I did any lives. I was just tired and busy. But being I was here today and there wasn't really anything going on, I figured we'd take some time and do a live. Jerry Parker, how are you? I appreciate it, man. So, like always, and all you guys know this, YouTube suppresses content. So, you guys that jump in the shorts and the videos, I really appreciate you. That helps. I gotta play around with some shorts and try to break out of their little shadow ban. Now, according to YouTube, they don't do shadow bans, but they do. They heavily censor gun content, especially, as Amos found out, especially like actual firing of firearms. They stand on it, man. There you go. People be into that. Yeah, for like IDPA, we don't shoot it very often, Stifler, but for IDPA, they let you have factory comps and factory ports. So my daughter has that shadow system that she's been using the last few times. I'm really starting to like that pistol. All right, Minnie, you have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Keep posting content, man. Don't let them win. But I kind of wouldn't mind building something for that game, and it would end up being a Glock style with probably the ported barrel. Alex has a 4.45 BSA rifle. I'm not sure what that is. That a pellet gun? Air rifle? Not sure. I know I have a 6mm pellet gun, but I don't know. I don't know what the 4.5 is. Is that like 177 or something? Yeah, they're out of control, man. They make it really hard. Like I posted a video to this channel and I posted it to another channel of mine. The other channel I haven't posted much on. It's been kind of just treading water. That channel is over 1 million views on this video, and on this channel where I continually post gun content, it's got 400 views. So I posted them the same day within a minute of each other. One gets over 1 million views and one gets 400 views. So Alex, is that what it is? Is a pellet gun? Or so sometimes doing the lives helps. It at least brings people to the channel. Usually pick up some subscribers too, and then when you pick up subscribers, they check out some of the videos, but not always. It's a very discouraging thing when, you know, they shadow your or ban your stuff. It's hard to swallow. Yeah, I will do that this afternoon, probably after my physical therapy appointment. I have rehab for my back at 3:30, so when I get home tonight, that's what I'll do. But I have Gen 3s. I have Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4 frames. I don't have any Gen 5. So, but running factory ports would be pretty badass. I never saw a purpose to having an 9mm standard comped or ported, and then we picked up that gun for my daughter. And the more, like I keep saying, the more I shoot it, the more I like it. Gen 443. I think both of my 43Xs are Gen 5. Hold on, let me go look at the other one. I don't have to handle one on here. Yeah, that's really hard to swallow. Do they make a Gen 5 43X? That rifle in the back is a 50 BMG. So the 43Xs I have, I got one in my hand right now. It doesn't say Gen 5 on it, and it does not have the ambidextrous safety. I don't know if the Gen 4s did not have that safety, or if it was whatever. So if you guys know, let me know. I bought them both. I bought two of them at the same time. One I was going to use for a practice gun. The other one I was going to use for a carry gun. And then I went out and shot them, and I don't do anything with them. So yeah, Jerry, I'll come to your channel and I'll leave you a comment on it. But it's FV_ordnance dash or space 15. But yeah, I'll definitely cover you. Still, yeah, they're shameful. You know, they should be ashamed of themselves. The censorship, you know, talk about. I don't know. I don't understand it. Yeah, very, very carefully and thoughtfully. Yep, they definitely do. So Stifler, do you know if that the Gen 5s have the ambi safety or ambi slide release on the frames like all the other guns? Yeah, so obviously Jerry too. I don't know if you're into Glock builds or anything else, but Stifler, he manufactures Glock slides, aftermarket Glock slides. I think they're gonna start doing SIGs, um, but he makes some really, really cool stuff. Yeah, if you want to look, because I don't know. I guess I never looked at him that close. I'd taken a woman shooting and I held the gun, but I didn't shoot it. Uh, and I like the way it fit my hand. And then I went and I bought the two of them. Like I said, one was going to be a practice gun, one was going to be a carry gun. And um, once I started shooting the gun, I'm not real impressed with them. They're too thin. The polymer's too thin in it. It's great, but you can feel the gun flex, and I'm not a big fan of feeling it flex. Now, with that being said, if I didn't have my Glock 26 and I could like feel the difference between the two of them, I'd probably carry the 43X. Um, we have acquired a SIG M17, no promises on timeline. Everything takes time. You know, the benefit of the 40 slides, and this is something that most people don't think about, is when you buy a Glock 40 caliber slide and you do the 9mm barrel conversion, you get a thicker barrel. So when I did conversions, if I knew I was going to buy a gun and do a conversion on it, I looked for the 40 slides, the police trade-in 40s. You change the ejector, which I mean, it's the 2 pins or 1 pin, whatever it is, to pull that out. That's like a $12 part. You slide a new one in, um, but you got a thicker barrel, so thicker is always better. And with the 40 slides, you can shoot 10mm and you can shoot 357 SIG and 9mm. So I don't know if it would make sense to tool up for that for somebody to have a 40, but if somebody wanted to have a multi-gun platform, you know, they bought the 40, they did the 10mm, they do the 357 SIG, and they do 9mm, that would make sense. But do you know what I mean? I think 357 SIG is pretty much a dead cartridge, and outside of competition, 40 is too. And the only competition that the 40 still matters in is USPSA. And truthfully, I haven't seen anybody shoot a 40 cal Glock in probably a decade. Yeah, I think with the trying to think, there's another caliber you can do with the 40mm slide. Uh, Off the top of my head, I can't think of what it is. I've converted a bunch of 40s to 9mm, but I never did any of the other conversions. A very good friend of mine, he did the conversion from 40 to 357 SIG. And I think he only did that because he liked to reload. And so he was actually making his own 357 SIG brass. So he was taking a 40 and necking it down, trimming it, and then loading it. He old guy that was retired, so he was always looking for something to do, and that was why he went that way. But 357 SIG's a nasty cartridge. Definitely a monster cartridge. But I don't know what I would have ever used it for. It would be nice to have one, just because of the power it has, but I don't know what I would use it for. I don't think it would be a great carry gun. I think for like bear or something like that, 10 millimeter would probably be better, but I don't know. I know for a while they were looking at it for, well, law enforcement obviously, but I think the FBI did some trials on it, but it had too much recoil. Like the police trading Glocks, because they used to all be 40 caliber. You could buy a lone wolf barrel and they'd drop right in, maybe some minor fitting on the barrel hood. And then, like I said, you change the extractor, which is only, well, you got to pull the trigger group out. So you got the trigger pin and then the rear pin, and you have to pull out your slide lock, but that whole assembly comes out, and you would just swap that out for the 9mm. The 41 was straight, the ejector in it was straight, and in the 9mm, it's got a slight bend. 9mm will eject in the straight one, just not as hard. It doesn't have as much force to it because you're only hitting the edge of the case versus damn near the center. But yeah, they used to be real big on that 40, but technology got them. A modern 9mm is more effective than a modern 40. They have better penetration, and the bullet damn near expands the same. Now, I don't know what the energy difference is. I guess we could look it up and figure it out. But that's why everybody sticks with 9mm. You get a couple extra rounds in a magazine. So rather than being like a 15 or a 17 round magazine, and 40 you get 15, which doesn't really matter. But 40 does have more kick and more. I think for me in Glocks, it wasn't even the kick that I would notice. It was the actual the twist, the rotation the gun would do. It not only recoil up, but you get a rotation to it, a torque. But a downloaded 40 is significantly softer than even a downloaded 9. You can work a good competition load, and for like USPSA, 40 is considered a major scoring. So it's a cheater round. You don't have to be as accurate with a bigger cartridge. The scoring works in your favor. So a lot of people would shoot limited division, and they would shoot a 40 caliber with a real light load, and because you had scored major, it worked out in your favor. It was worth doing. But with carry optics and limited optics being a thing now, very few people shoot that caliber. I have a Tactical Sport Orange 2 in 40 cal that my son plays with sometimes, and he's had it at his house for months. I don't know that I think I brought it home, and he grabbed it from me the day I brought it home, and I haven't seen it since. So I think they're decent, I know 42. For powder wise, if you're reloading for 40, it takes small pistol primer, and it takes pretty close to the same powder charge as a 9mm, but you shoot a much heavier bullet. So other than the cost of brass, there's a slight difference in cost for the projectiles, but it's pretty much, if you're loading your ammo, it's pretty much the same. It's not that big of a difference in cost. But again, that's why for the competition world, people like the 40s because there wasn't that much of a difference in it. But now, if you're actually buying factory ammunition, um, that gets to be a lot more expensive. So that's what I know. But what other slides are you working on? I know you've talked about them a bunch. I just don't really recall them off the top of my head. But yeah, for the 6 guys that are still here, I appreciate you hanging out. If you haven't, consider tapping the screen, putting a like on this. If you want to join the conversation, feel free to join the conversation. Otherwise, I'm just gonna sit here and chill and it's all right, Stifler. What other slides? I don't recall what other ones you're making right now. I know you've told me a million times, but all right, Jerry. You have a good day, man. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it as always. I appreciate it when you jump in them shorts stuff too and leave comments. That really helps. So, thank you very much for that. Stifler, what's your most popular color you're doing? I would think, if I were to guess, I'd probably say something like burnt bronze. I think that's a color that I really like. We've got 6 models and 19, but we only put 2 of them on hiatus to focus on the 17. Are you thinking you're going to do anything for like that 47 or the 48? Graphite black is always popular, but following that, burnt bronze, FD, tungsten, red habanero, and UMC red, Jesse James, Eastern Front, green, and occasionally gold and shimmer aluminum. I keep hearing everybody, I mean, they talk very highly about that 47, but I personally haven't put hands on one, and I don't think that it's something you would feel. That you'd have to go shoot the gun to feel a difference, but that seems to be the most popular gun I see people coming out with that are still shooting Glocks. But I think Glock has definitely lost a huge market share. Well, they have. I shouldn't say think, they have. Which I think the company could fix if they would give customers what they want. That graphite black, I like that black too. That's kind of like a satin black almost, right? Or a mattish type black. Well, that was one thing I figured out when I was doing my business is I used to do the whole slides for people, put patterns, camels or whatever on them, and then I figured out that at least for me it would pull my eye away from the sights when the gun would recoil. So I stopped doing the top of the slides patterns and I just started leaving them black. The patterns would be on the sides. Yeah, it's like a semi-gloss black. Or a low gloss, probably. And then the other thing I used to notice, and I made the mistake too, is I would change the back plates and you put the ones with the designs on it and stuff. And them too, man, they would pull my eye off the sights. I don't know if that's a thing with people with red dots, probably not. But for me, when I was doing slides for people, I stopped doing the tops of the slides for specifically that reason. That's kind of why we stopped doing Stormtrooper white. It was too glossy. We switched to Arctic white. Yeah. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, if people just want to, I guess, a conversation piece or something to show you, that stuff makes sense, but I think you have a hard job because the market's got to change drastically from month to month. People go out and they'll buy something, they'll mod it out, and then they may never touch another gun. But you still, and maybe you don't know, do you still think you probably get a lot of work or customer ordering parts because of the polymer build guns, the P80 type stuff? Is that still a huge driving source of business? I know, like, Ammo was in here earlier, and I think every Glock he has or every clone he has is all P80 type builds. I see a lot of people yet with them types of firearms that they're building or that they're buying parts for, but that's something that I never got into. Sometimes, yeah, we sell SCT manufacturing parts kits, and we be adding ELD performance barrels, both standard and ported. There you go. That would give me the option of getting slide and a barrel from you. Glock barrels aren't hard to fit, and I would rather buy a Gunsmith fitted barrel versus a drop-in fit, but it's nice to not have to mess with stuff too. Like, most of the barrels I've always used were KKM or Barstow, and obviously they were all, you had to fit them, which was nice. I mean, you get a good barrel out of it, but that's hours of fucking around. So when I did stuff for customers back in the day, it was normally just a lone wolf drop-in barrel, or a semi-fit barrel, because then you usually only had to take material off the barrel hood. So it wasn't, I mean, it was still hour or 2 hours worth of work, but it wasn't like hours and hours and hours of fucking around and frustration. But I don't care what gun it is. That's annoying. I mean, 1911s are the worst to fit barrels too, but it's time consuming, Yeah, that's what I see. Even KKM, I was looking at barrels on their site a few weeks back, and their stuff's all semi drop-in now too. um, which is weird because I would rather fit another barrel. My Gen 3 Glock that I shoot, it's time for a barrel in that. That barrel shot out. I don't shoot the gun very often, but I do shoot it on occasion. That's one that I can hand a lot of people, and for whatever it is, probably because of the barrel and the sights and the trigger, they shoot it well. So when I take new shooters out, that's usually the Glock that I hand new shooters. It's an easy gun to shoot. Definitely a little better than a factory Glock. But I have more rounds through that Glock, through that Glock pistol than everything else I own combined. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of rounds through that gun. That's the 4th barrel I've had in it. The frame is worn. The slide, because it's been refinished, the slide doesn't show a lot of wear, but it's worn. You can tell. The frame, especially like around the rear rails, is really heavily worn down in them areas, but it's still more unserviceable. And if them rails were to break or whatever, I would just buy the new insert, the extractor assembly for it, which maybe I should do anyway, just freshen it up. But I bought that gun back in, I think it was 2002 when I bought it, and I shot that gun for, I don't know, 18 years competitively. That was my primary gun. And I had a backup gun, that's why I bought that Gen 4 Glock 17. But on rare occasion did I ever have to switch guns. More times than not, when I take people shooting their matches, I would hand them gear. I would hand them that Gen 4 gun. That was generally what they would pick up and shoot. But this next week we have the Wisconsin State IDPA match. I don't think I'm going to shoot that. I could still sign up for it, but I don't think I'm going to shoot it. We have a bunch of different matches this month. We have another 2-gun match, and then there's a shotgun-only match. There's some steel challenge matches. My daughter likes them. So I kind of got to pick and choose what we're going to shoot. This weekend, though, this Sunday, is IDPA, and I think we're gonna go shoot that. I don't know. I was kind of leaning towards shooting that MP5 clone, shoot PCC, just for fun. But I don't know if we're gonna go shoot the match or if we're just gonna go out and do a range day. Her last match, she shot my daughter. She struggled pretty hard. She was flinching and anticipating recoil, so she was nosediving the gun quite a bit. And it's easily fixed. You just got to go spend a couple hundred rounds at the range and work on that trigger discipline, and she'll do good again. But after a couple matches, she'll be doing the same thing, and it's to be expected. She's 11 and a young, small girl. You know, it's not a man doing it; it's a girl. So, you know, you shoot a couple hundred rounds in a day, and I don't care who you are, by the end of that match, you're generally anticipating recoil or starting to flinch or whatever. And people say they don't, but everybody does. It happens. That's why you go practice in between, and you know, you refresh everything you're doing. You ever, if you're still here, Stifler, you ever think about doing like any of the Echelon frames or the Hellcat frames or anything, or slides for any of them? I don't even know if there's an aftermarket for them, but I think them are real similar to a Glock design, aren't they? Yeah, I said I was curious. I That was why I was kind of asking too if you think a lot of people are buying slides and stuff because of doing the builds on the guns, which makes sense because then they need a slide. But what other what other guns are you guys or have had interest in? Kind of curious about that. How did you guys do on your Memorial Day sale? Did that go pretty good for you? Was that successful? 365, M17, and 320 once in a while. Colt 1911. The 1911 could be, I don't know. People aren't building too many 1911s. I think they just want to, if they wanted to just swap slides, but there's a lot of work that goes into fitting a 1911 slide. I would love to have one. A ported barrel and a 45. That would be pretty badass. And then a bull barrel too instead of a barrel bushing, but most 1911s, from my experience, you can't just swap slides on without fitting. Um, that would be cool though. It would be cool to have the optics ready. I'm not even that familiar if there's a lot of optics ready 1911 slides out there. Um, Still kind of old school. There you go. The 34 with the ported barrel would be pretty badass. The 26 probably would be too. The 26, if it had texture and so you get a hold of the gun better, uh, something like echelon style or some of the styles you have, or like the shadows, so you had something to really get a positive hold on. That would be nice. The 26 slide is small, especially if summertime or whatever. It's hard to get hold of. So that one I could see, and I don't think they don't have any optics ready versions of the Glock 26 yet, do they? I haven't seen any. Like mine The one I have is a Gen 5, but I don't think I've seen any that are factory optics ready. But I haven't, obviously I'm not out there looking for them, but what about doing something? What about doing something for them Turkish guns? You know, like you said, 1911 slide, but some of that stuff maybe could be interesting. Hmm. Could do a upgrade for the Prodigy. Them seem to have significant problems from the factory. That would be something that would be interesting too. See, I've seen a lot of people pick them up. Even this year alone, I know a half dozen guys that picked them up, and then they gave up on them. They're getting rid of them. I know I've looked at that Prodigy a few times, but people have a lot of problems with it. And I think a lot of it's just straight up break-in. The couple hundred round break-in isn't always accurate. You got to sometimes put a couple thousand rounds through a gun to really get it broke in. I think on them Prodigies, when they Cerakote them, they just hammer that shit on. So from the ones I've all seen, I'm pretty sure that was the major issue, because they talk how they have to wipe the gun out and oil it every couple hundred rounds in order to get it to run. That tells me the tolerances are tight. So I kind of want to pick one up just to make it work, figure out what I got to do to make it work, but part of me doesn't want to spend my money on it. Yeah, but like I keep saying, I keep coming back and I talk about that Shadow Systems. You know, a lot of people, they don't like that gun. They talk very poorly of it. We're at almost 5,000 rounds through that now. I think it was like, when we looked in the book, it was like 4,700, 4,800. And it's still run perfect. We've yet to really have a problem. The only problem I had with it was some ammunition that I used that I knew I was going to have problems with it. There were hard primers that none of the striker fired guns like, and that was no exception. It didn't like them either, but the guns ran flawless, and that's even with my daughter limp wristing it. The gun runs. It shoots good. It's reliable. Hasn't broken yet, and that factory comp, it works. So up until I bought that for her, I never considered buying one, but I would absolutely consider buying a second one now. I really like it. It's a pleasant gun to shoot. Yeah, I was seeing your video last night. I was watching that where he sent that, and I think I left you a comment on it. Pretty sure I did, because you made a comment about didn't know what to do with the slide. And I think I was on my other channel, but I said you could always send it out. Yeah, man, people do stupid shit. That's one of the things that people don't realize either, is everything has a tolerance, and you start changing parts. Everything may be in spec or in tolerance, but that doesn't mean as a whole unit that you're not getting tolerance stacking. So my preference was always to get things tight that had to be fitted, a gunsmith fit, and then fit them. Then you could end up with something that was tight and it was reliable. If you were having issues, when the gun got dirty, you just loosen up the tolerance a little bit. You open up your slide rails. But yeah, people definitely don't like to do work. They just want to put it together. They treat firearms nowadays like Legos. That's where, that's the big thing with AR-15s. Everybody says I built my AR-15. Nobody built their AR-15. People assemble it. They order parts and they drop them in. It works really well for an AR-15, right? Now other guns, like if you have a CZ Scorpion, it's a CZ Scorpion. The specs are the specs on there. They're all the same, so you don't have the issues of compatibility like other things. Tried to pry it out classy, and then didn't want to accept fault in it. But yeah, that's, like I said, that's the thing that people do. They just want to take things and put them together like Legos. They don't want to do the actual gunsmithing work, or understanding that there's variances in parts and dimensions, tolerances. So you said you refunded his money on that slide? Probably shitty, because he probably sat and badmouthed your product, said it was, the product's fault and not his incompetence. And that's harsh. I was watching one guy, he's working on a gun, and he's got the Dremel out, just dremeling away. And I was talking to him, and I told him, because he was shooting a Beretta-style gun, that the bullets he was using, he was going to have problems with feeding. They were a flat nose, hollow point, and Berettas are notorious for not feeding that type of ammunition. And I don't know that he ever got it working like he thought it was going to, but on that one we swapped our slide for his. He had another company's product and they wouldn't help him. Yeah, that's shitty. A lot of companies take that route. On the other return, it looked like the customer had hammer to the muzzle face where the guide rod is installed and beat it, and said we sent him a bent slide. Huh. Do you think he bent it to get out of it? Ammo, welcome back. So Ammo, did you figure out what you have to do for that AdSense to get monetized? I was going to bring it up earlier, but I forgot. It's not horrible. And you'll have to do, so once you get fully monetized, there's a whole bunch more shit you got to do to it too. Probably saying if it was negligent or on their fault that they're out of luck, I imagine, huh? Now with the full monetization, you have to send in account numbers that they're gonna put the money in. They have a tax form they want you to fill out. Verification again, they make you give your ID up a fourth time. I know it was something else, and I can't think of what it was. You guys ever, and I don't know, maybe you do. See if I saw your son. Yeah, he makes badass shit, man. Have you ever thought about getting an FFL and maybe putting some of your own stuff together to sell? I think Ammo, when I asked him about that before, he said they can, but they don't because they're at production capacity. Yeah, people don't understand polymer guns either. They are very finicky on primers. Nobody wants to talk about it or mention it, but they are very finicky on primers. Factory Glocks included. That's from my experience. You know, especially once you start doing trigger work to them, they get worse. But like my Glock 17, my Glock 34, the shadow systems, them are all real finicky on primers. I have to selectively use generally Federal primers because they're soft. But the minute people start adding, you know, the different spring weight and different fucking lost for the name of it, the connector to it, it changes the function of the firearm. Foreign ammo is always the worst. Always the worst. A lot of the foreign ammo, they intend to be used for SMGs. So these foreign companies that are manufacturing ammunition that intended to be being used in SMGs, they have harder primers just because the guns are running in full auto. But most of the U.S. manufactured ammunition's better than others. Chanson, what's going on? Trying to I'm gonna talk a little shit to you for a second, but I mean it in fun. Trying to be good. So you were definitely pissed off last night. Do you care to share what you were mad about? I had to go to bed. I couldn't stay up long enough to pressure you to find out. But I went into work this morning. I popped a vacation day right away, so I came home, went back to bed. I figured we'd do a live. It's been a minute since I did a live. Yeah, there's always fitting, break-in period. What happened with Pete? Come on, Chanson. Now we're looking for information. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of companies say, a couple hundred rounds for break-in, and that's not enough. Realistically, until you got 1,000 rounds, maybe 2,000 rounds through that gun, they're not really broke in. You know, at about the 1,000 round mark, all your springs are where they're going to be generally. All your fitting is pretty much where it's got to be. You know, most of the time when I get a new gun, I take it and I'll wipe them out and I'll run it dry for a couple hundred rounds, and then I'll take a good look at it. And then it depends on what I'm going to use for lube. On some stuff, if you use grease, I prefer grease. If you use grease right away, sometimes they don't run. They're too slick. So, but generally at least 1,000 rounds before I consider something broken. Chance and there. Kababamo is gay. Are you guys gonna share with me, or am I in the dark? Julie. Oh boy, that seems a little harsh. At least he's kosher. Well, inform. I'm curious, man. I missed it. What happened? I mean, don't let me be the odd duck out. Doesn't affect my input on anything. We all have bad days, and we all say things that maybe butt hurt Ben and Pete. Arizona Kid, how are you doing? Deleted Instagram. You on lunch break, Arizona? I'm a loser. I went into work today, and I popped vacation day right away. They're upset because my channel does so good, and they're mad I didn't let Ben in my GC on Instagram. What's GC? I don't know what GC is. Is that just the chat? Doesn't even do the dishes for a wife. What's for lunch today, Arizona Kid? Who's a sponsor? Who's been sponsor? PB&J. Crust or no crust? Toasted or non-toasted? When I do PB&J, I always toast it. What's GC? I don't know what GC means. Group chat. Is that when you post things to the chat or whatever in there? So I never do that. Crust non-toasted. Small ammo company. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, man. When we all look at one another's channels and the other one's doing better, we all kind of wish, we were doing better. But I don't know. I got a couple channels that I tried to sponsor, or tried to not even sponsor, support, and I don't want nothing to do with them no more. They rub me wrong. But like I said, Chanson too, you know, I don't know what happened, but sometimes we all say things that maybe get mistaken wrong. I know I said a few weeks back, like, made a comment about being a gun tuber and getting out and shooting, and I had a couple people, and it wasn't even meant to them, that kind of got offended about it, and that was directed towards NFA FUBA, because he'd show new guns, and I'd ask him if he shot it and stuff, and he got real pissed off one time. He goes, "What the fuck does it matter if I'm shooting these guns or not?" I'm like, "Because that's what I want to see. I want to see you shooting these guns." And he got kind of upset about it. And I didn't mean anything disrespectful by it, but he took it disrespectfully. And so then I did that gun tuber thing of course I'm a gun tuber. That's why we shoot the guns. But, all right, Arizona, you have a good day, man. What time are you done? I'll probably do a live again later. I'm gonna run this for a while. My channel's struggling with views right now. Definitely being suppressed. So the best way to get out of being suppressed is do a live and bring people in, get them to sub, and help the channel. That was one of our customer issues. They used wicked sketchy ammo and tried to say it was our slides. Like, dude, you use sketchy rounds. You know, might be worth mentioning too. It'd probably be a problem because you can't send loaded ammunition in the mail. But years ago, when we'd have problems, they would ask for the ammunition and spent ammunition just to kind of prove what was going on. Do you guys install the striker liner in your slides before you ship them? You know, that plastic liner that goes in the striker channel? Or do you leave that for a customer install? So that used to be one of the things that I saw a lot. When people tried to install them, they would booger them up, and then they would have problem after problem after problem with them. At 3:30? I'll see you after that. I have rehab at 3:30, so maybe 4:30. We'll do like an hour or something. Collaborations and sponsorships can cause drama. There's two we won't name that we won't work with again. Yeah. You know, it's like I said, I can say this, right? I mean, we would all like to get the golden ticket and be able to do what we're doing every day and get paid for it, you know? And it sucks when you're fighting to get views or whatever, and you see other channels that aren't really doing much of anything, and they're exploding. It's kind of rough to see, but you know, if my friend got a sponsorship, I would like that. It would be okay for me to also ask for a sponsor because they are obviously, yeah, I agree with that. We received a slide through it in our build, and it ran like butter with regular ammo. We only install the channel liner if they order a complete slide. Okay. How many people do you think know that they have to install that? Do you have it in your information that needs to be installed? So I don't think too many people are looking up parts lists or anything. "19-year-old kid of color with Keltec and Taurus G2C, thousands of views, and they act like ghetto monkeys." Yeah, that one bothers me. There is one business we are open about now, and we did a live stream about it, and Leo Precision, because they copied our design before they sold their company. I think I remember watching that. I think I caught you on that live, didn't I? Yeah, I'd bet people probably don't realize. And it's not a hard thing to put in, but you do have to be careful because it's real easy to mar that, and then you end up getting light strikes, and you end up getting failure to ignites, and um, all kinds of shit. The best part is when the striker sticks forward. You know, that's exciting. I've seen that. Yeah, I was on that. I remember being there. You know, that's one of the things too, and I know you see this as um, Coors Light. How are you doing, man? How's your day going? I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. There's a lot of people they want to build these custom guns, and I won't even call them a competition gun or whatever, but there's a lot of trial and error with what works and with what doesn't work. And once you get something dialed in, the more customizable it gets, the more narrow the operating field goes. They become finicky with ammunition. They become finicky with loads. Uh, they even can become finicky with the type of lube you use. So a lot of people don't understand that. You know, the loads that I developed for my daughter's gun is a load that I wouldn't shoot in anything else we have. It's a full power load with a lot of gas. It's going good working today, and I get off at 3, and then I'm packing up for a trip with the wife and have a good time. You? Uh, I took a vacation day. I got rehab at 3:30, so we're getting some time on the live to try to help the channel out. We got Stifler Manufacturing here, Ammo's here. Uh, I think Chanson's probably still here. So if you haven't, check out them guys too. Stifler Manufacturing, he manufactures aftermarket Glock slides. Uh, does phenomenal work. So I pinned his comment. They got sales and stuff going on, but definitely check his channel out. I need more subs on my new channel. Yeah, that's always the issue. I need YouTube to stop acting like a bunch of little bitches. That's what I need. Stop censoring content. We don't blame Desert Cat. I'm sure if they knew or not, but we've moved on to new slide designs. Yeah, I've seen you in a lot of these guys' stuff, Stifler. Um, See, that's the thing, like I was started saying earlier. Actually, before I say that, of course, where are you going on vacation? Where are you going on that trip? But everybody wants to be friendly, but at the end of the day, everybody is kind of out for themselves. Um, and you want to see everybody succeed, but you want your channel to succeed first. And I'm guilty. Laughlin, Texas. I've never heard of Trigger Hill. The AR triggers or Glock triggers. If you're looking for a Glock trigger, Trigger Tech is making a Glock trigger now. I haven't looked at the prices on them, but I saw a video with their stuff last night, and um, it looks badass. It's a social media app. Actually, yes, I did. I tried uploading it. I saw it on what's the chick's Alexandra. She was talking about it on hers. I tried to upload it, and my phone got all kinds of fucked up. I still can't sign into my um, cloud, my iCloud. So it kicked me out of everything. It signed me out of everything, and now I can't get into iCloud. Nevada. Gonna take the bolt out. There you go. So you too, you got kicked out of everything? So I almost, I don't want to say it's a scam because she was saying, you know, that's where she is, but whatever I clicked into to load the software to be able to upload that, it did some fucked up shit to my phone. Yeah, yeah. Well, I wouldn't upload it. So I don't know what to do about my iCloud because I can't get into it, and I try to load it, and it goes through all the verifications, and then it says we experienced a problem. I bet. I hope you have a good time. You know, don't get too sunburned. Remember, put sunscreen on. Take lots of pictures. What kind of boat do you have? You know, that's the thing, Chanson, too, just like you did for me. That's why I try to get in everybody's videos and comments. You know, even if my channel isn't doing good, if I can help other people, I think that's important. You know, a Tiger 21V, I think it's a 2001. I'm not familiar with the boat. Is it a big boat or is it a 21 footer? Probably water skis and tubes and all that. Or it's stuck up assholes. I feel you, man. I know it's hard too, and I'm sure you know this, and I need people to remind me of this sometimes too, so feel free to remind me down the road. But sometimes when you read people's comments, you really don't know how to take it. You know, if they were saying it to you in person, you would know how to take a comment. But when you're reading stuff, it's really hard to know what they mean sometimes, you know. So, but I absolutely agree, and I like to try to support people that support me. You know, catching more than their lives, catching their videos, that helps a lot. You know, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but like when I'm looking at my channel and it's not doing shit, it's discouraging. Makes you not even want to do it, because why put the effort into it when they're not going to let your content get shown anyway? It seems like a waste of effort. You know, but doing the lives is fun. It's fun interacting with people. It's fun chatting with them, but they're very time consuming. You know that. You know, it's, for me, I set all the stuff up and then put it away. But even if you aren't setting it up, I mean, you're dedicated to that time you're being there. You're not doing other things you want to do. Even if you're loading ammo, right, ammo, you're loading ammo, but you're still not really 100% there because you're paying attention to your stuff. Yeah, I got that on my other channel. So I posted that video on both channels at the exact same time. There was about a minute apart. On my other channel, it got over 1 million views in 5 days. On this channel, I got 400 views in 5 days. So how does that work? That channel has a little over 5,000 subscribers. This one has, you know, over 14,000 subscribers. I get 400 views on this one and over 1 million on that one. There's no way that adds up. So it's like I said, and you guys all know this too, Ammo, Chanson, even Stifler, you know, the algorithms that they use don't make sense. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, Support. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But like I said, two channels with real similar content on the channels. Um, Even the video, like I had a video on this channel last year that did really well. It's just short of 9 million views. I published that video to the other channel first, and it got a couple hundred views. It's still only sitting at a few hundred views. And on this channel, it got almost 9 million views. Why? You know what I mean? At this time, this was my backup channel. This was the channel I used when I thought something might get a strike. This was the channel I used on stuff that I didn't think was worth putting on my main channel, and that video took off, so this kind of turned into the main channel. You know, it makes no sense. I think a lot of it has to do with them censoring content, with when you get strikes or complaints. Even if people are complaining on something and it's not a valid complaint, so they don't give you a strike, when people start reporting shit out of spite, that hurts your channel. That drastically hurts your channel. It shuts your channel right down. You know, once I got the first part of monetization, when I was edging up on that, they really suppressed my content. And then got through all that, and then I started edging up on the full monetization on this one, and then they started really censoring this one and stuck me on 2 strikes, you know. And now they're edging up on, I got a payment coming, and they're just suppressing the channel. So it's like they want to make it so you can't make money. They want to make money, but they want to make it so you can't. They want you to sit and continually post footage, but not reward you. You know, it was weird for the longest time, like on this channel, if I posted something, it would take a few days before the video would do anything. And that's when my channel was doing good. That was the pattern it would go, is I would post something, and usually 24 hours, 2 days later, then the video would start doing something. Then after they give me strikes, it'll do something like instantly. It'll go in the feed instantly, but then it dies within 2 hours. So why that is, I don't know. You know, publishing it the same way, I don't know. If you guys know, share. By all means, share your knowledge, because I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. I don't even think it's the smaller channels are getting censored, because these guys that are most of them that are less than 500 subscribers seem like they're doing pretty good. Their stuff gets pushed. But it's the guys that are like under that couple thousand and over that 1,000 seem like they get really shit on. This one's over that, but I don't know. I don't understand it. I know I can go to my other channel, right, where I'm subscribed to this channel. It's one of a couple channels that's subscribed on there, and this channel won't even go into the feeds for that channel. I have to physically look this channel up in order to find the footage that I posted. So that doesn't make sense. That's them not putting your stuff out, because otherwise on that other channel that I have, where there's only a couple subscriptions, it should show up right away. It should go into my feeds right away, and it doesn't. It doesn't show up at all. And it's funny, because after I contacted YouTube about some of their censorship or their suppression of channels, and I got into a whole big argument with it, and then they gave me a strike on some shit, my channel's done nothing since. Yeah, I don't know. You know, and it's normal for a channel to go up and down. You know, one month you don't get shit for views, then next month you're on fire. Why that is, I don't know. I don't know. You know, for me, it doesn't matter the time of day. It doesn't matter the day of the week. You know, you go through and you look at your analytics and say, okay, these are when my viewers are on. But that doesn't seem to matter. I've had a lot of people say how, like, when they publish their videos, they don't schedule them. They put them in unlisted first, and they leave it in unlisted for a few hours to a few days, and then when they finally publish it, they do better. That's made zero difference. Hashtags have made zero difference in videos. Generally, the videos that do better for me are the videos with no hashtags that I instantly publish whenever I decide to do that. The scheduled stuff or the unlisted stuff or the any of that, it never seems like it works out. What'd you get me? Huh? But I don't know, gentlemen. My wife is here with food, so I think I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to eat. I am going to come back on later this afternoon, probably 4:30, 4 o'clock, somewhere in there. Hopefully we'll catch you guys there. If I don't, I'll catch all of you another time. Make sure you check out Stifler Manufacturing. He's doing some really cool stuff. Chance and I hope your day goes better. I appreciate you anyway. Ammo, if you're still here, I appreciate you too, man. And you guys that are just sitting there watching in the background, hey, I even appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Feel free to double tap that screen real quick though. Yeah, I see you on the flip side. You have a good vacation, man. Enjoy that. Don't get sunburned. Don't sink the boat. So with that, I'll catch you all another time.